Didn't get enough of the architectural beauty of Dust Town? You need old Nadezhda to play tour guide? Know her. I used to run with her. Jarvia took over the Carta not more than a year ago, and already she's got every duster with both legs bearing swords for her. They do, but it's not easy to find. Jarvia's got real paranoid. She's got Carta members all carrying these fingerbone tokens. She scratches some mark into them so she'll know they came from her. There's doors to her base all over the city, but only one is ever open at a time. And if you show up without a token, you'd never know it was there. Can't help you there, Selrocka. The Carta members keep them real tight. But that's worth something, right? Maybe just a little. I'll think of you when I go to bed with a full stomach.
It has become very close with the other Grey Warden.
Yes. I suppose I have at that.
I find this difficult to comprehend. It is whiny and weak, and constantly laughing.
Then I guess a romance between you and I is completely out of the question.
And the attempts at humor, I cannot understand how it is endured.
Well, maybe you should ask her why she likes me so much instead of bothering me with it.
It has a loud mouth. Why its head has not been crushed already is hard to imagine.
Or maybe you just happen to figure she likes me a lot more than you.
Don't be foolish.
Yes, I thought so. Just watch your step, or I'm totally telling.
I'm going to stand over here now.
You called. Speak, then. We have no mages such as you do. We have beasts in the shape of men who perform tricks. True. I suppose it is also horror and perversion. As a fish stranded by the tide knows the air, or a drowning man knows the sea, so does a mage know magic. Knowledge is one half of wisdom, but there are many things that can only be known too late. Arshera, are we going to fight the Darkspawn, or chatter until they grow bored and leave? Very well. I misspoke. They are not beasts. Beasts learn eventually. Life is fair. Is there some reason you insist upon discussing this? I applaud your attempt to pursue knowledge, irritating as it may be. I know nothing of mages themselves, only their actions. There is no use talking of this. We should move on. As you wish.
I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them. Good, of course. It doesn't want to have anything in common with all those other filthy substandard human types, does it? Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings? Nonsense. It can imagine my surprise discovering such a thing was possible from a creature so soft. But there it is. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. they might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless. Indeed, can it imagine the horror? Oh. Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought.
You called. I am hardly surprised. The Kyun, the path to wisdom. I am not surprised you don't recognize it. Ask a Tamasran. They know how to explain things to children. It is not for me to teach the Kyun. As you wish. You called. Speak, then. Clearly your chantry agrees. As do the Kunari. We simply treat it as it deserves. Experience. My home has been under attack by the Mage Lords of Tevinter for all my lifetime. I have seen what magic is and what it does. There is no use talking of this. We should move on. As you wish.
Hey there, stranger. 6 bits for a tumble. 2 silvers if you all want to go at once. I weren't talking to you. Hear me? We weren't talking.
Well, look what we have here.
Jarvia said you were looking for trouble. Congratulations. You found it. Don't kill me! Sorry ancestors! What do they teach you on the surface? You fight like a bleeding archdemon. Sweet bloody stone, look at them all! Jarvia said you've been asking about. Don't look at me like that. I got a kid. I got no other way to bring in coin. The base is below the city. You can get to it through the wall of the 3rd house on this row. Put this token through the slot, and it'll open. Will you let me go now? Really? Oh, thank you. You're a good person. How do they say it? The ancestors have shown their favor. Bless you.
I am told that it lost a large number of comrades in the battle with the Darkspawn.
Me? I guess I did, yes. I didn't know all of them that well, however. Mostly just Duncan.
I'm unfamiliar with this name.
It's not important. You don't need to know who he was.
I cannot remember if I ever had anyone important to me. All I remember is being given orders.
I would gladly be following Duncan's orders right now, if I could.
It enjoys following others. I find that odd.
You wouldn't understand. Don't worry, I don't expect you to.
As you say.
It is begun.
What's the password? Looks like we have a martyr, boys.
So, Paramount finally realized we're taking the city, yet he still can't be bothered to send his own men. Well, you picked the wrong side, stranger. It doesn't matter who's king, as long as there's a queen. Hardly convincing when your blades are covered in my men's blood. Kill them! But leave the pretty one alive. I have plans for her.
So this bird thing of yours.
I do not have a bird thing. I have an extremely justified rage of the flying vermin that plague this
Let's
world.
go. But there are some birds that are useful. Like the ones you eat.
I approve of the ritual slaying of the foul beast, but it eats one? Disgusting.
Oh, they're really quite tasty. You just need to rip off the feathers first. I like the skin myself.
I think I'm going to be sick.
Ooh, golem vomit. This I have to see.
Would the Swamp Witch consider explaining the nature of magic to me? I am most curious.
Oh? Surely there is another who would not be so bothered by your tiresome questions. Perhaps Alistair?
I fear the second warden has not the knowledge to answer my question.
You might ask him anyhow. Certainly whatever he happened to come up with would serve as amusement.
I do not understand. I seek enlightenment and not amusement.
You're apt to get much further seeking amusement, I assure you.
The Swamp Witch is a most confusing creature. I do not understand it.
You're not the first one to say so. The first golem, perhaps.
I will ask the Swamp Witch later, when it is less inclined to make bizarre responses to my queries.
You will be waiting some time then, I fear.
I heard the news. Jarvia and her Carter are dead. I suppose it was unrealistic to expect them to surrender. Would that some of the noble caste had such loyalty. I have no desire to go back on my word. But when Balin heard the news about Jarvia, he raised the stakes. He is forcing a vote in the next 2 days. By law, that prevents the Assembly from hearing any other pleas. To help with your troops, I will require your assistance one last time. Do you know anything of the Paragon Branca? Yes, a smokeless fuel that made underground forges safer than they've ever been. 2 years ago, she took her entire house into the deep roads on a mad quest to uncover ancient secrets. No one's heard from her since. Were she to return and endorse someone for the throne, the Assembly would be honor-bound to accept her wishes. It's hard to say what she would do. She wasn't exactly known for her predictability. She never seemed to like being a paragon. She was devoted to her craft, never cared for politics. But one of the most brilliant minds Orzammar has seen. Branca hated Darkspawn with a passion. She would certainly be a valuable voice to support your treaty. Her entire house went with her. It would take a lot to kill so many. If not, bringing proof of her death, or a body to return to the stone, would still show that as an ancestor, it was my hand she guided to her remains. My men traced Branca's disappearance to an ancient crossroads known as Caradin's Cross. It is many miles below where we normally venture, but I can provide a map to lead you there. Just enter the deep roads through the mines. Thank you again, and may the ancestors guide your steps.
All right, I've come up with one. A question that you can't answer.
Are you talking to me?
That's right. You think you're so smart. I've got an academic question that I bet you won't be able to answer.
Oh, I doubt that.
So tell me then, what was the name of Andraste's husband?
This is a religious question, not an academic one.
You're joking, right? A 5-year-old could answer that question. Do you not know more than a child?
I care nothing for your religion, and this game of yours is over.
Oh, how the mighty have crumbled.
I would still like to know how the Swamp Witch learns its forms.
Eager, are you not? Does the golem wish to become human after all?
A human is a soft and weak form. I desire no such thing.
Then why the interest in shape-changing? Unless you secretly wish to become something other than what you are.
Is that why the Swamp Witch learned? To escape her form?
In a way. It was lonely to grow up in the wilds. To join with the forest, to become one with its denizens. There was a freedom in that.
I think it would be an excellent talent for disguises.
Or perhaps to walk through doors without hitting one's head.
Yes, exactly.
Well, 'tis not a good enough reason.
So, you were serious before when you said you wanted to help Branka, huh? I'm Ogren. I don't know if you remember. People seem to forget me these days. Or ignore. I forget which. I'm still her husband. More than that, I'm the only one who cares about her as a person. Not some symbol to leave in the deep roads where she can't offend anyone. I know what Branka wanted, and how she was looking. You, I assume, know whatever Harrowmont's men have dug up on where exactly she disappeared. If we pool our knowledge, we stand a chance of finding Branka. Otherwise, good sodding luck. You should know that Branka was looking for the Anvil of the Void, the secret to building golems, which was lost centuries ago. The smith Caridin built it, and with it, Orzammar had 100 years of peace, while it was protected by the golems forged on the anvil. As far as anyone knows, the anvil was built in the old Orton Tig. Branka planned to start looking there, if she could ever find it. All she knew was that it was past Caridin's cross. No one's seen that Tig for 500 years. Why do you sodding think? She left me. Ran off and took our entire sodding house on her mad quest for the anvil. It was a stupid move. If I'd been with her, she'd have made it back years ago. But I forgive her. If we're going, let's get moving. Branka's not gonna sodding find herself.
Be careful out there.
It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it. That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag. I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the loathsome hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out. With a chisel and a lot of nerve. He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much, his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. Ha! I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it? Good. Clearly, I am worth it. I'd have happily stomped them all into paste, and then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In fact, after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh. I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark. I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you soft creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention. Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Something I can help with? Vast holes carved from the stone of the mountain, lined with the chiseled marble figures of paragons, so fine as to mirror life itself. Soaring ceilings grand enough to make any man forget the sky and the sun, and to question the reason for their existence. I have heard of these things and more, but none prepared me for what I have seen here. It is marvelous. Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated, and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais, and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. She wasn't unhappy. We had a good life, and she liked Orlais well enough. I loved it, though. Val-Royeaux was so vibrant, colorful. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecilie let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecilie than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on.
It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. That part I know, as Wilhelm often bragged about it to whomever was willing to listen to him. He claimed to have found me in the Deep Roads. I was in the ruins of a Tig, he said, deactivated, with my control rod not far away. I think I remember a battle. It was long before, and then there was darkness. Bah, in short, no, I do not remember why I was there. It makes no difference. It was a hobby of his, scavenging. One of the reasons he traveled so much is that he was looking for entrances into the Deep Roads, old places the dwarves had long forgotten. And then he would sneak down and search for magical treasure, before anyone was the wiser. Indeed. He had spells that allowed him to remain hidden and move quickly, but he had no defense against the Blight and worried constantly that he would get sick. If any Darkspawn showed themselves, he fled. More often, he would have to fight other scavengers, dwarves who had become tainted. In the end, it killed him. I mean, he found me there, right? I wouldn't have had to put up with the twit, and I would be none the wiser. I don't think I was aware while I was there. Not like in the village. Or perhaps I was. Perhaps that was the dark place, and I simply couldn't see anything. How long could even I sit in the darkness and stare out at nothing Never sleeping. Oh, I do not wish to think of that. No, that secretive bastard refused to tell me. I would ask and ask, but no. He used to say that one day, if I were compliant and didn't talk back at his wife, he would take me there and I could look around myself. Rotten, lying bastard. If I had his head in my hands now, I would squeeze it like a giant lemon. Squish. On then.
So, do golems know any good jokes?
I know at least one. It is a drunken dwarf that travels with the Grey Warden, constantly belching and...
Ah, I mean a real one. You must have overheard at least one or two standing there as you did for years and years.
There was a human man who once started telling a joke to another as he relieved himself on my leg. I confess I didn't listen. I was too busy planning my revenge.
Eh? And what happened to him?
He disappeared during the fighting in Honleith. Tragic. Hit his head on a rock, I think.
Remind me not to fart anywhere near you. I've seen a golem or two in my time. We have them in Orzammar.
It is indeed wise in the ways of the golem. It deserves a medal.
Thing is, I don't remember anyone ever mentioning about them having memory problems.
Perhaps they're not the ones with the memory problems.
I talked to a golem once. It didn't have anything interesting to say, but its memory, sharp. It could tell you what you were wearing at the Barnack Festival 10 years ago.
Probably vomit and flies and little else, if I were to guess.
Of course, if someone simply claimed to have lost their memory, that would avoid some awkward questions.
Is it still talking? It is not drinking, so it must be.
Fine, fine. You go on and don't answer me. You'll screw up sooner or later.